Nowadays, it seems like people are running their businesses simply to pay rent
To pay rent.
and rates.
Run your business, you're doing really well, but then you need to start hiring, and you have people coming in
That's
the
right.
business.
With all their
The baggages,
their baggage,
the
their
way they are,
foibles, their
yes,
qualities
the
in many
qualities,
cases.
yes,
But
yes,
yes, and each person will be different.
absolutely.
And as a manager, you have to be a bit of a
Yes.
chameleon.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think there are a lot of people who don't understand cash flow analysis.
Yes.
Don't understand budgeting, don't think it's important. You know, they can
Absolutely.
barely tell the difference between turnover and profit. The aim was to have a diverse in every borough.
Oh, okay.
All I want to do now is...
In today's episode, we are joined by Anita and Claudine for an honest and powerful conversation about black women owning and leading businesses. They share their personal journeys, reflect on how the landscape has changed over the years, and discuss the realities, challenges, and lessons that still matter today. It's a conversation about growth, resilience, and what the next generation needs to understand when building and sustaining a business.
Anita,
Hi, Claudine.
good to have you with us here
Thank
today.
you for having me.
It's been a long time coming. I think we've been planning this for
It's a
quite
few
some
months,
time.
yes, yeah.
Yes. I'm going to let you introduce yourself for those who somehow don't know you. I'm sure pretty much everybody knows you in the community, and I mean community in Southwark and Lambeth and beyond. So, Anita, tell us who you are and
Okay.
what you do.
So I'm Anita Thorpe. I'm a retailer, and I have been in retail for over 20 years. I have two retail businesses. One is a design-led gift shop, which I started 26 years ago. And
Diverse
Diverse Gifts in
Yes.
Brixton. And the other is a Whole Foods store that I took over about a year ago. Natural and organic foods. It's been established for 45 years. I took the business over a year ago. So now I have two retail businesses.
Brilliant. That's absolutely amazing. And that's just one aspect of what you do. You've got so many other hats. The reason why I say that is because the way we have been working
Yes.
together is because you are one of our trusted tutor. Yeah, absolutely. You've been, since the inception of
That's
Trampoline,
right,
you've
that's
been
right, that's
tutoring
right.
on pretty much every single course that we have. The
Yes.
only thing that I know you don't like is digital digital
Yeah, I'm
knowledge
not a
and
lover of
AI.
Zoom.
Yeah. So tell us about other things that you
Okay.
like doing or you do.
Well, the other string to my bow is training, because before I went into retail, I was a professional management trainer.
All right. Okay.
And I got into business training almost by accident. I went to volunteer as a mentor to a local business support agency, Tree Shepherd. And I had to have an interview. And as I was leaving the interview, I asked the chief exec how things were going with Tree Shepherd.
Yes.
And he says, I have business people who can give great advice and mentor, but they can't train.
Right.
And I have trainers who are brilliant at what they do, but they don't know a lot about business.
About business, yes.
And I looked at him and said, I think I can help you with that.
that's
So
good.
that's how I
Yes.
started to put together my
Yes.
business skills with my training skills.
Yes.
And yes, I don't have as much time for business training as I'd like, enterprise training. But occasionally I will do it for
You do.
good friends.
Yes.
Like
Absolutely.
Trampoline.
Yes.
And also some mentoring supporters.
Yes, absolutely. And pretty much everybody you've mentored have come back to me and saying that, Anita is so good.
That's amazing.
So,
that's so good to hear.
Yes, we've known each other, I think, for 9 years now.
At least.
Yes, at least 9 years. I'm just, for those who do not know me, I'm Claudine. I'm the CEO of Trampoline, and I'm here with having a conversation with Anita. And the conversation, I think, is really about Black women in businesses, right? I think we run successful businesses, but it's about how we got there, how we got to where we are, the challenges we face, and yes, let's have a conversation about that, and maybe be as honest as possible, so perhaps we can inspire other people.
That's right.
Yes. So, how has your journey been into your years of business, the retail business and the food retail business, mentoring, training, all of that? How has it been?
Well, I called myself the accidental entrepreneur because I had no plan to become an entrepreneur. I was quite happily climbing the ladder in the training space. I am a Brummie. Some people will pick that up in my accent. And I came to London to extend my career. So I came down to London to a management position, which wasn't available to me in the Midlands. And I started trading initially from a market stall, doing events, pop-ups. Quite accidentally, it was partly for the social element, because I was new to London. I didn't have many friends in London. I was an absolute jewellery fanatic, passionate about jewellery. The more unusual, the more weird,
more quirky,
the better, the more quirky, the
absolutely.
better. And one of the things I found is when I first came to London, this was in the 90s, it was quite, I don't know if parochial is the right term, but people tended to stay in their area. I didn't have any allegiance to any particular part of London, being an outsider. But I found if I wanted really, I was based in South London, and I found if I wanted really unusual, quirky clothing or jewellery, I had to travel for it. And I used to wonder why. Why do I have to travel for it? But also, people would often compliment me on what I was wearing, and they were in South London, and I thought, I wonder if I bought this over to South London, people would buy. And then the weirdest thing happened, because I kept thinking about this, but I had no idea how to go about it. I had no business experience at all. And one evening, went like late night shopping in the West End, saw all these little side streets towards Tottenham Court Road and decided to turn down one just out of curiosity. And it was Berwick Street, which at the time was the home of the wholesale jewellery market. And there were all these shops saying trade only on the door, which I never understood at the time what they meant. But I thought, all these shops are selling jewellery. They're selling nothing but jewellery. And I took that as a sign that I should follow this stream. And I went into one of the shops, and they said to me, "Are you trade?" And I said, "What's trade?" And they said, "No, we're only open to the trade." Anyway, went into another one, and I said, "What do you mean trade?" They said, "You've got to buy a minimum of, I don't know, 50 or 100 pounds worth of, in order for us to sell you." I said, "That's all I need to do?" He said, "Yes." So I bought, I think, 50 or 100 pounds worth of jewellery. Found myself in Brixton Market a few days later, walked up to a stall, asked someone, "How do you get a stall here?" They directed me to the market manager's office, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I ran that stall at weekends for about 4 or 5 years before I got my first shop. I'd work from Monday to Friday. These are the advantages of youth. I'd work from Monday to Friday. And on a Saturday I would run my stall. On a Sunday I would sleep, and I'd do it all again the next week.
Again,
and I loved
the following week.
I loved it.
Yeah. That's good. I can pick up a couple of things that you and I have in common. That is that I'm not a Londoner. You came in the early 90s. I came to the UK in the early 90s. And again, I was a blank canvas. And, I could do pretty much I could try pretty much anything I wanted. And I think that is a good starting point when you don't have any kind of allegiance. You could just
no allegiance, no expectations.
Absolutely.
Just go
you
for
just
it.
try, you test and see if it works.
That's
if it
right.
doesn't, well, you pick up again and try something else. And
I certainly didn't think I would be doing it 20 odd years later.
Yes, there we are, still in business. That's amazing. So the journey, is it? Do you think the journey would be the same for someone picking up today?
I think no, it wouldn't be the same. Obviously,
what are the different challenges? What are the things that are different, do you think?
I think there are more advantages than challenges. That's the first thing I would say.
Right, okay.
I think the main challenge today is the economy and high rents. When I got my first shop, for example, the proportion of my turnover that was given to rent was quite low. You know, you could get a cheap property in Brixton and it would feel like a cheap property as you were traded. You know, you held on to more of your money. Nowadays, it seems like people are running their businesses simply to pay rent and rates. So that's one major difference. There are no cheap or affordable properties available. Hence the popularity of pop-ups and co-working spaces and so forth. So that's the first big challenge that people would have today. And when people say to me, if you started in business today, what would you do differently? I always say to them, if I was in the retail space, I would not commit myself to premises. I would really work on e-commerce.
Absolutely.
And events and pop-ups.
Exactly.
And I would not tie myself down to
And I was just going to say, as you say, that was a challenge. Then, in comparison, in terms of rent, people pay more now in proportion
to their
but
turnover,
then they have opportunities to do it different, so many different ways.
Yes, there are many more possible streams of income.
Opportunities, yes.
But that's a lot of hard work,
It is.
And just keeping retail premises stocked and running well, and keeping that level of turnover high is working. But you're right, there are many more opportunities. To bring in income from different sources.
And for me, I would say in terms of challenges back then, starting a business, maybe 20 years ago, I would cite the lack of support available.
Without a doubt. And this is why I would say it's way easier to start a business. You need, it depends on the area that you're in, but you need far less in terms of, if you've got a phone and access to commodities, you've got a business in your back bedroom there.
Yes, absolutely.
You haven't got to find a market stall. You haven't got to buy masses from a wholesaler anymore, or a creative in order to be able to run your business. So you can start with a very small level of resources. And for me, the biggest change is access to information. Which is what the digital world, the move into the digital world's provided. I started with very little knowledge of business. It was all trial and error. And that made it fun and exciting. But I lost money. I shed a few tears. More than a few, in fact.
Didn't we all? Didn't we?
Lost a lot of sleep. And looking back, there were things that I could have avoided if I had taken advantage of the resources that are literally freely available today.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much of it available today, these days. The things that we do, the things that, the collaborations that we have, other organizations.
That's a major change in business.
Absolutely.
And I often talk about this on my enterprise courses because we'll do a session on how to collaborate effectively.
Yes, absolutely.
And I said, back in the day, you never collaborated with somebody you saw as a potential competitor. You know, it was
you just
very
didn't.
antagonistic. You avoided them or you were at war with
Absolutely.
them.
Yeah.
And now we're saying to each other, let's share resources. Let's share our follower base.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Let's
that's
find
great.
ways of working
Let's find ways of working together. Yeah.
You know, and I just find that fascinating how what's available out there, this kind of stuff that we do, the kind of things that we do here at Trampoline. And as you know, we just opened the Enterprise Hub where we are providing
beautiful.
Various facilities. So it's actually taking the support further, right? We used to do 6 to 9 months of incubation support and then, okay, goodbye, good luck. Yes. But now what we want to do is a lot more than that. We're providing machineries. For people who do craft, mainly sewing machine, embroidering and all of that. We have a digital suite where we have a 3D printer, a laser cutter. We have, a number of desktop where people could do their modeling and send it to print. So
that's another key difference. The gap between learning and launching, as I call it, has become so much smaller for a lot of people, whether it's access to mentoring, whether it's access to facilities like you're offering at the hub. Again, that was so.
Yes.
It's not that people. We see a lot of people, particularly younger people, going into business these days, and unfortunately, it's going to be the option going forward. It's going to be the only option for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's because there's that was always the case.
Yes.
That's what I meant to say. That was always the case. People have always had ideas. But there's always been this gap between the idea, the learning, and the launch.
Yes,
because then you need money.
Yes,
you need networks.
Yes.
You need access to information, which back in the day you would have to pay for.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So
and we want to have all of that here. On the top floor, we have a networking, co-working space where people could come together, exchange ideas,
absolutely.
work together. And, the mentoring support, we want to do a lot more by provision in terms of networking and mentoring. Mentoring is fundamental.
It absolutely is. Absolutely.
Mentoring is really, for people who go into receiving business support, if they can get that additional mentoring, that's what makes the whole difference, I think.
It is. Between, having an idea, launching it, and it being sustainable.
Absolutely.
Mentoring can ensure it goes the distance.
Yes. Yeah. So what do you say to people who look at people like you and me and think, oh, you've been an overnight success? What do you make of that notion of overnight success? I just want to hear what you say.
I think there are some people, I think a minority of people can be an overnight success, but an overnight success can often be like a firework, bright and dazzling and exciting, but only momentary.
Yeah. Yes.
That success has to be sustained. So whichever way you look at it, whether it's a hard slug in the build up to that success or whether you're an overnight success who needs to sustain that success, it's going to involve a lot of hard work.
Yes.
And, I often say it's not necessarily access to money and influence that will determine your success in business. It's your ability to work hard, to be organized, and to be resilient, because you will get knocked back.
Yes.
And, the difference between someone who's successful in business and someone who's not can often be the one who gets up.
Yes. Yes.
And I've had people say, oh, how have you managed to stay in business so long? They don't know the times when I've been 3 weeks off going under.
Yeah.
And something has just happened at the last minute to turn things around, and I've got going again and again and again.
Absolutely.
So, it is very much a process of being knocked down and getting up. And, Resilience is key.
Resilience is absolutely key.
And, you can have all the money and all the backing in the world. If you don't have these essential human qualities,
yes,
then your time in business will be limited.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember, I don't know if it was early this year or last year, where we sat down somewhere having a coffee.
Yes, we went
and
to Somerset
talking about
House. Yes.
talking about how demises with certain aspect of running a business, and we were actually, I think we agree that managing people is one of the most difficult things. You might know how to run your business, you're doing really well, but then you need to start hiring, and you have people coming in the business.
With all the
baggages, the way they are,
qualities,
the qualities, cases,
yes. And each person will be different.
Absolutely.
And as a manager, you have to be a bit of a chameleon to work with the different personality types. It's incredible. And, at the Whole Food shop, I have 9 staff.
Yes.
And, 9 staff who are used to a very different
style of management. Right.
And that's been, the working in the food space, which I've never done before. Right. That was enough of a culture shock.
Exactly. But, so you're dealing with two new
challenges.
Challenges.
Just blowing my mind. I think 20 odd years in business, I know everything there is to know. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm starting all over again, starting from scratch. Yeah. But so in terms of people starting in business today and comparing it to back in the day, there were certain advantages we had in terms of access to affordable space. But I think in terms of access to resources, and maybe not money, but access to resources, knowledge, information, networks, resource agencies like yourself, it's way easier to start in business today.
Absolutely. And I was, I can't remember, I think I was having, in the last podcast episode, I was talking about the support that we provide here and my vision with what we do at Trampoline. And I think I was saying that we are around 80% compared to where I want us to be. And I think the 20 remaining percent is about access to finance.
Yes.
Access to finance is still a big issue, mainly for people in our target group. And as you know, we work mainly for people who are minoritized by ethnicity, gender, and, people who look like you and I, who come from different places and find themselves here in London, in this big city, want to start a new business, and you have to manage so many things. You have to navigate so many. You have to understand the culture of London. You have to understand the language,
And we're in an economy which means that people's attitudes towards consumption, in particular, are changing.
Yes. Oh, massively. Yes.
One, people haven't got the resources. The majority of people haven't got the resources. But 2, people are thinking globally, if you like, about how they consume and its impact on the planet. And, we're feeling the fallout. Maybe fallout's not the right term, but we're feeling the effect of that in retail.
And I think it's our responsibility, people like you and I, to kind of help people understand all of that, and get them ready to be able to provide a service that is up to the standard that is expected.
Yes.
Because like you're saying, everything is fleeting. I come to you, I'm not satisfied with what you're offering. I go someplace else.
That was a challenge we've overlooked. But there's way more competition.
Yes, I will straight go someplace else. I would go online. I would go. The world is a market, it's just one click.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. It's one click away.
But also, it means that you have the potential to have way more customers.
Yes, absolutely.
Than just those who are in your locality.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's really about how you take advantage of that opportunity.
How do you take advantage of that? How do you get yourself prepared? How do you deal with different aspects of running the business, from taking orders, from customer service?
Yes.
Tell me about customer service. What do you make of it in terms of the young entrepreneur or the startups that we work with? How would you rate customer service, good quality customer service within the people we work with in general?
You mean the people who come onto the programs?
Yes.
When we have discussions about customer service in the training, very often when I'm dealing with people who are completely new to business, they take almost a very personal view of customer service, both in terms of their expectations, but also in terms of what they think the customer is entitled to, and they definitely or isn't entitled. Definitely do not support this idea that the customer is always right. That's an old concept. And I often spend my time saying to people, look, the contact that you have with customers is fleeting, and it's your responsibility to make that the best experience possible, even if they're behaving badly, even if they're being demanding. For me personally, I think the exception to the rule that the customer's always right is when they are abusive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
But aside from that, really is about treating your customer as king or queen and making the most of that opportunity. Because back in the day, if people were unhappy with your service, you only had to worry about them telling their half a dozen or so friends in their network.
Yeah, but now it's
they go online
review,
and
right?
the whole world can, in a second, people can undo
everything you've done.
Of
years
hard
of
work.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
It's always worth bearing that in mind. So yes.
So when you go out and do your own shopping, your own retail shopping, are you usually satisfied with the level of customer service that you see out there, or what would you do?
I think when you go to big stores,
big stores, they're quite set.
That have the resources to train staff to a standard. Your experience is way different. When you go to smaller independent stores, mostly I think the experience is quite good.
Positive.
Yeah, it's quite positive. It might be a bit casual for my liking as an older person, but as long as people are polite to me, I'm easily satisfied. And I think that's also, as someone who's been on the same side of the counter as them, I think I'm a little bit more patient and understanding because I know what it is to have difficult customers. I know what it is to have to work long hours and be tired. And
so I try not to take it personally. Understanding.
I'm a lot more understanding. Yeah.
So,
but it's all down to how people are trained.
Yes.
Yeah.
If there is one or two things that we could do to improve the level of services or with new startups, so the people that we're teaching, that we're training, incubating, if there is one more thing that we could add to what we're already offering, what would you say that would be?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Yes, I did.
What would it be? I certainly think more work on understanding the customer. What would it
be? Use of new technologies, perhaps?
Well, I think younger people
they pick up on it anyway. They're using it anyway.
And most business-oriented resources are very intuitive and very similar to what people will have been using in their everyday life. So I don't think tech is so much the issue. They all understand the need to be on social media, the need to be selling online. Maybe the financial side of things.
Right. Okay.
I think there are a lot of people who don't understand cash flow analysis, don't understand budgeting, don't think it's important. You know, they can barely tell the difference between turnover and profit, and think because they've had a good day, they're millionaires and they can splash out. And,
absolutely. Yes.
You know, and I picked that up on courses, and because many people aren't great with numbers, quite off-putting, but it's vital for you to understand your numbers.
Absolutely.
Not just financially, but also your metrics in terms of email and social media. Because there is so much valuable information contained in those.
Totally. No, I think you're absolutely right. Financial readiness is one of the things that we want to focus on. In the next few months, in the next year or so.
I've seen so many good businesses fail. Not because they're not profitable, but because they don't know how to handle finance. They don't know how to handle it, or they think they're profitable. And when you dig below the surface, they're actually not working very hard, but not making very much profit, if any.
There's that. There's also the reluctance. Like you say, people don't like numbers. No, they don't like working with numbers. So there's already that reluctance of, I don't want to do it. I have an accountant. But you don't actually need an accountant when you have less than 10 transactions per month. Right?
That's right.
Learn how to do it. And I always tell people, whatever aspect of the business that you asking somebody to handle, make sure that you know how to do it. I can at the very least have a conversation with that person.
If your accountant messes up and gets you into problems with HMRC,
it's not them, it's you.
HMRC isn't interested in your accountant. They know this sort of thing goes on.
Exactly.
Ultimately, you're responsible.
You're responsible.
So while you haven't got to understand the fine detail, you should know broadly what your accountant should be doing.
Know a little bit about your website, know a little bit about HR, know a little bit about accountancy. So you can at the very least have conversation with whatever consultant you have.
But also you can ensure that what's should be happening
is happening. And they're not just taking you for a ride. Yes, exactly. Because we've seen so many cases where I've seen so many people coming, somebody advised me to register as this or register or as a charity. But why? You want to trade. Why? I got this lawyer and
this is where programs like the one you run can be incredibly helpful. I've lost count of the number of people who come on courses and believe that you have to be a limited company in order to trade in the UK. Just one form of registration. If you're operating on a very small scale and not carrying any debt, it's the worst thing you could do.
Absolutely. And that shows sometimes the level of misinformation from professionals, right?
Or just people's perception of what business is all about. Because it's, I always say, look, it's just a set of principles that you need to understand. Once you understand them and apply them, you're in business.
Exactly.
It's not some rarefied world with a secret language and special skills and magic.
Exactly.
It's something any of us can do if we understand a few basic principles.
And I like the structure of how we do things. How you and I we've collaborated on delivering those courses. Is that everybody know from the onset that they're all at the same level.
Yes.
You always have the smart one who comes and shows up.
Yes, and you ask them to give you an example and they struggle.
Exactly. Absolutely. But knowing that they're all at the same level kind of helps them and makes them feel a lot more comfortable.
And they can become each other's support as well.
They are each other's support because the level of peer support that we've seen is just amazing. It's amazing. Anita, in terms of, with everything that you do, are you planning new things? Are you interested in growing your ventures, in doing a lot more than you are at the moment?
When I started, the aim was to have a diverse in every borough.
Okay.
But I have to say, over the years, the hunger for world domination has dwindled.
Right.
All I want to do now is ensure that both businesses are profitable. Um, perhaps at one stage I'll consider selling one or both of the businesses. The whole food shop needs a lot of work, and I basically took it over to save it from closing down.
Okay, closing down.
So that's going to be taking up a lot of my time.
Brilliant location. It's
excellent.
Really so. One is on Cold Diverse is on Cold Harbour Lane, and
Brixton Whole Foods is on Atlantic Road.
Yes.
They're 10 seconds apart.
Amazing
I spend the day running from one to the other. There's this crazy woman, she just keeps running across the road.
How many staff do you have between the two shops now?
13. Do
you use the same management style, or do you manage this slightly different than the other?
With Diverse, and I'm not sure this has been a good thing, I manage quite closely.
Right.
And I think it's because it was my baby and I want to be involved in every aspect of it and look after it. And also because it is a design-led gift shop, standards and aesthetics are very, very important. I always say to the staff, we're not selling the stuff of life. We're not selling food and drink that people have to have. No one's going to die if they don't buy a greeting card. No one's going to die if they don't get a new pair of earrings. So the way we present the store, the way we interact with customers is paramount.
Yes. Yeah.
And very often I'm around to ensure that those standards are maintained. And while the shop has a very good reputation and very high, it's known for its high standards. And I think it's prevented me from developing other things.
Right. Okay.
Whereas it's the opposite at the Whole Food Shop. The Whole Food Shop has two managers who, while the owner was ill, and he was ill for some time, had to run the store.
Right, okay.
So I can be a very hands-off manager in that respect. Yeah. So what I want to try and do now to enable me to do more is to adopt the same approach with the gift shop.
With the, yeah. Okay. No, that's good. And you've had some celebrities coming to the show. I'll look at the Instagram. I can see. Did Michael B. Jordan come to the show?
Michael B. Jordan came to Brixton, not to the store specifically.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yes,
but you've had those, all sorts of celebrities.
And the key thing for me as somebody who's from the analog age rather than the digital age is to remember to capture these occasions.
You should ask your staff always to make sure they have.
Yeah.
Yes.
But sometimes they're just so
amazed about it.
Just stand there with their mouths open.
I know. I can understand that. So for you, let's try and I think we're coming to the end of this episode, but let's talk about legacy, right? We both women of a certain age, and then what's next? What are we thinking of in terms of legacy? What do we want to see in the next 10, 20 years with what we have achieved or what we've done? I'll let you go first.
I would hope that both businesses will continue. I would like them both to continue. I've always tried, certainly with Diverse, because of the lack of Black representation in business in the area. Although, interestingly, it wasn't like that when I first came to Brixton 20 or 30 years ago. I think it's important that if I were to sell, I would like to sell to a Black person that isn't being racist. That's just about continuing the legacy, because the shop centres work by Black people and people from the global majority. So it's appropriate. I think it would be appropriate.
Yes.
But also as an established, successful business, it is very much a role model to people in the area.
Yes.
I've had people come into the shop and said, I started my business because I saw what you were doing, and I would like it to continue to have that influence on local young people in particular.
Yeah.
to provide that inspiration, but also somewhere where they can come and do business.
Yes. I mean, there have been some major changes in the area, but you withstood the test of time, the test of, regeneration, the test of everything.
I always knew it was coming.
Right.
I never knew
how
exactly
it would
what form it would
yes.
take, and I certainly didn't think I'd be looking at, £2 million houses on our doorstep, if you like.
Is that where we are now?
That is where we are.
In Brixton.
In Brixton, where a taxi wouldn't drop you. In Brixton, where when I started, suppliers wouldn't deliver. I'd go to trade shows and I'd be worried about telling people the address of the business.
Yes.
Agents wouldn't come to see me.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I was at that intersection of race, gender and class.
Yes.
Because Brixton was very much a reviled area at the time.
But you know what? You're still at that intersection, but something has shifted.
Something has shifted.
It's still
kind of working for me now.
That intersection is now beautiful. Is what we're looking for.
Yeah. So I'd like to hope I'd like both businesses to continue, particularly the health store, because we're about providing healthy options for the community.
Absolutely.
I'd like that to grow. I have some great ideas for it.
I'm still waiting for that diabetes to come back in stock.
You'll have to speak to your staff about that. You'll have to speak to your staff about that. I'd have sacked a lot of them.
No, but I think legacy.
Sorry, that's an in-joke.
Legacy is important.
Yeah.
We do what we do.
I have had the opportunity to sell.
Yeah.
More than once.
Yes. But not
people
now.
Not now.
Not now.
But people outside the community have wanted to buy or partner.
Yes.
And I've always thought I wanted to
That's
stay
not
within
exactly,
the community. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not ready yet. Not ready for that yet. Yeah. No, for me, I would say definitely what I'm trying to develop now with the Enterprise Hub is the legacy. It's, all these years of, developing different things, working in different ventures. I think this here is the culmination of it. This is the place where, okay, we do this, we're doing well. I'm actually, kind of looking for to set up a stronger board of directors, because at the end of the day, up to now, it's mainly been a one-person band, right? Yeah. So I need people to come on board and for the next few years, strengthen it. And the good thing is when we got the over £1 million grant to develop this, they also provided us with a learning partner. So there was an additional 100K for tender for a learning partner. So we're working with an organization called Locality.
Okay.
So they're following this process for the next 3 years to see how we can make it sustainable, how we could make it financially self-reliant.
It has to be the key.
Absolutely.
Because if the economy keeps going the way
absolutely.
Those resources for grant funding is simply not going to be there.
I don't believe in, as a business, I don't believe in relying solely on grant funding. This was good. This was amazing.
Very vulnerable position to be in.
This was amazing to be able to secure that all together between the two grants that we got just shy of 1.5 million.
Wow.
So that's good to set this up, but then we have to continue.
Yes.
We have to make it sustainable. For me, I'm thinking, developing the same structure in other places. The options are limitless. Franchising is another one.
Yeah.
But it has to remain sustainable. I think gone are the days when a founder, somebody created something, they're the founders, and then when they're gone, the business
Goes with
collapses.
them. Yes, yeah.
I don't think we can do that anymore.
There has to be someone or something to carry the baton forward.
Absolutely.
Because the need for entrepreneurship is only going to get greater.
Exactly.
The jobs simply aren't there.
Exactly. And the need for food,
yes.
whole food, and the need for amazing gift is still there. So in a way, we're still in a place where there is...
it really is about keeping abreast of developments.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which I think we do quite well. And what I like is that we support each other.
Yes.
We've always supported each other. And we will continue to do so.
Definitely.
And I think that's the only way. You talked about competition, how people used to, fight the competition.
Oh, yes. But that used to be the hallmark of a good business person. They could decimate the competition. But now, it's
we collaborate.
Changed. We collaborate.
We collaborate.
Yeah, we help each other forward.
Yes, we help each other, And thank you for that. And thank you for always being by our side.
I've enjoyed it. It's, people say to me, you train as well as run a business.
Yeah.
It's almost like the training is my self-care because
Yes.
it gives me an opportunity to step back from the business.
Yeah,
I get joy from helping other people. It's
and you
incredibly
sharing your
inspiring.
experience by mentoring,
Yeah, and I enjoy that. I get as much out of that process as hopefully the learners do. So thank you for giving me that opportunity.
No, thank you, Anita, and thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.
Jay, can we wrap up or yes? Jay's being absolutely silent, but again, Anita, thank you very much for your time. I understand that's your first podcast. Is it your first podcast?
It's my second podcast.
Oh, it's your second podcast.
It's my first in a proper
podcast
beautiful podcast studio. The last one I did was I spoke into my laptop
recorded.
From my bed.
It's
video recorded as well. Yeah. So this is my first professional podcast experience.
Good. Thank you so much, Anita.
Thanks, Claudine.